Throughout history, humans have always held an innate feeling of respect and fear for forests, and it comes as no surprise. An area dense with trees and underbrush, where sometimes minimal light appears, allowed predators of all sizes to easily hide and stalk their prey. Before scientific research, most of the unknown in the forest was attributed to a whole host of mythical beings and spirits. These entities varied in appearance and motive, with some being more or less benign and neutral, while others were outright evil. Ancient and pre-Christian Slavic folklore centered most of its myths and stories in the thick forests where the Slavs themselves resided in, and this gave way to more superstitions surrounding forests, with emphasis being made on staying alert and not falling victims to the cryptids that reside there. One unique creature that was frequently discussed and is perhaps the most well-known Slavic forest spirit is the Leshy, a guardian of the forest who can both be cruel and nice to humans. Stories told about the Leshy mention how he can grant safe passage to a traveler, a good hunt to a hunter, or return lost cattle to a farmer as long as they remain respectful of the forest and its wildlife. Those who are not respectful and desecrate the woodlands for personal greed are doomed to meet their death at the hands of the Leshy through trickery of all kinds, such as steering people off the beaten trail into swamps, deep ravines, or simply letting them get lost and die of exposure. As mentioned previously, physical appearance is a big part of the Leshy lore. Practically all sources mention that the Leshy is a shapeshifter, but they vary in terms of what his true appearance is. Some sources state that he could be taller than the tallest tree or as small as a blade of grass, or take on the form of a human, an animal, a bug, or even a gust of wind, and that he could reveal his true form to people, either purposefully or through slight mishaps. The part about taking on the appearance of a human is more expanded upon by Catherine Arden, whose research mentioned that the Leshy would appear as a poor peasant, though with certain distinct characteristics which included not casting a shadow, not wearing a belt, wearing shoes on opposite feet, carrying a thick stick as a club, and more. Some sources claimed he had a green beard and hair or skin made of tree bark, and this depended on the woodland he resided in. Other sources stated that the Leshy had long claws, rough fur, and sometimes horns and hooves. Scholars believe that the horns and hooves feature, a detail synonymous with the traditional depiction of the devil and demons, are later additions brought on by Christianity, which heavily altered and distorted Slavic myths to further push paganism out of the Slavs. Christianity also offered its own take on the Leshy origins, claiming that he was a fallen angel or one of the original sons of Adam and Eve who was shamed into living in the forests away from society. To appease the Leshy and ensure his respect, people were told to be humble with the forests, to not swear or whistle, to not needlessly destroy plants or wildlife, to not hunt or work in the forests on certain holidays, and if possible, leaving food sacrifices sometimes as little as bread and salt, a staple and symbol of Slavic culture and hospitality. Other methods of protecting oneself from the Leshy included more traditional things such as making the sign of the cross or saying a prayer, and more bizarre ones like wearing your clothes inside out or backwards. By their nature, Slavs are highly superstitious to this day, and despite massive advances in science, industrialization, and urbanization from the mid-19th century to the present day, destroying numerous forests in the areas Slavs still reside in, the legend of the Leshy still lives. And whilst it is very likely that the overwhelming majority of people today don't believe in a shape-shifting guardian avenger of the forests, they still recognize the power of nature and its dominance over all.